and gentlemen, it is March 1st, 2019, and this is FAWMtalk. I'm, of course, Johan. With me, as always, my excellent co-host, Mr. T.C. Elliott. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing very well, as usual. How are you doing, Juha?
Not too shabby. We're doing a good show today, so that's always brings the mood up. And of course, today we have a very special guest, Mr. Metalfoot. Alex, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It's a Friday afternoon. What can you complain about, right?
Right. Exactly. All doing well.
I'm sure there's lots of things if we really want to.
I don't know. Can you think of anything?
Lots of things. I can start with male pattern baldness if you want to go from there.
Okay, start writing a list, and we'll get back to that at the end of the show. Sounds
My
good,
wife
right?
just showed me some guitar picks she painted.
Sweet.
Excellent. Oh, let's go straight to some music, huh? We got an excellent track here by Robin McKenzie and Catarina Maria Trujillo Lujero, and this one's called A Monster Under Your Bed.
You're scared of the dark, but you're lost in a dream. Tried to sort out the song from the screams. Oh, oh. How you gonna make it alone? That's what I don't understand. Your love's caught up in a spider web. It's time to feed the monster under your bed. Maybe it's your nightmare and you made it just because you can. Your love's hanging like golden thread, so let me be the monster under your bed. Take a step back when you're under attack. Is it because you know you're afraid to fear something? Cause romance is cool when you're playing the fool. Everything can mean anything or nothing. Oh my god, damn. How you gonna make it alone? That's what I don't understand. Your love's caught up in a spider web. It's time to feed the monster under your bed. Maybe it's your nightmare and you made it just because you can. Your love's hanging like a golden thread, so let me be the monster under your bed. Under your bed.
Monster on Your Bed by Robin McKenzie and Catarina Maria Trujillo Lujero. And these are, of course, all FAWMers. This is what we're playing today is a selection of FAWMers' own favorite tracks, and we got quite a bit of music lined up for the rest of the show. But that beat was really excellent. I kind of love that.
Yes, it was. It sounded great.
Yeah.
Not only was the rhythm good, but the sound quality of it, that bass coming in through these headphones, it was crisp and powerful, and I mean it was really good. And then on top you had the catchy lyric and chorus over there, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
Only 2? Well,
I only have 2. If I had a third thumb, I'd put the third thumb.
Well, yeah, of course, FAWM is now over, and we're starting to deal with Post FAWM depression. What do you guys think? What is the best way of dealing with that sort of thing? Because of course, everybody's very hyped about FAWM and writing songs, and now it's all over. So what can you do?
I personally just keep on listening through the month of March and just keep commenting and refuse to believe that it's really over. I have this really bad habit also of taking a few lyrics-only songs from February and turning them into actual songs in March to kind of ease off the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I often do. So my song count's at 68 right now, but it may end up a little higher by the time everybody goes home.
My lord, that's quite a few.
That's me.
This coming from the guy who was busy half the month and couldn't really participate.
It's true. If I were here the whole month,
it would have been 69 or 70.
Exactly.
That's too many. I think we're all glad that you stopped when you did. No need to go. No need to show off now, right?
Yeah, right. Huh.
Yep. Precisely.
I actually, I took most of today off, so it's just been. I checked in a couple of times on the site, but it was just the last hour or so that I actually came down to the music room, and so I spent some time with the wife today and did dishes this morning, and without having to either be asked or realize that they'd been stacked up and it was my turn and I should have done them 2 days ago, and there's still dishes everywhere. I actually took initiative, all the things that I didn't do during FAWM, so I went and ran an errand, all the things I would have put off yesterday. Today I'm actually doing, so that's helping my ease back into normalcy.
This couch is my music studio, and it's full of stuff during FAWM, and now it's kind of empty.
Down to $1.
Yep.
Hmm.
Is that a good studio? Or do you find it provides you with
a lot better than the alternative?
I don't know what it is about this brown couch, but it's kind of my thing, you know?
Right.
So, whatever.
Brown Couch Productions presents.
Exactly.
68 brand new songs.
Yep.
Well, kind of invading TC space right there. TC's airspace.
Huh?
Well, never mind. I mean, you're not watching the show, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. But the people know.
Yeah, I don't.
The people know. But yeah, about Post FAWM, depression, that sort of thing. I think it's a good idea to just try to keep yourself busy. I mean, April's coming up. We got NaNoWriMo Camp on April. And we're actually planning on doing a challenge where we just buy a sketchbook and try to fill it with beautiful pictures. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe some... we were talking about a 120-page sketchbook, like A4. I don't know. That's like almost like... What are the sizes in US? I mean, A4. Do you use A4 at all?
A4 is pretty close to letter size, I think, isn't it? Like A4 is fairly similar to what we'd call 8.5 by 11 or letter size paper here, I think.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Pretty close.
No idea.
All right then. Well, all right then. No problem.
Actually, so this morning I woke up before my wife did, and I came down and I checked into FAWM just real briefly. But I did some album art for the new Song Fight challenge that was just posted, I think, yesterday. So I did that, and then I do the almost daily writing prompt on Twitter and Facebook, where I put a title or a prompt or something that people can take when they're looking for inspiration, or you can get a line from it. And I started, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. At the end of the month, I'll do a little photo, like a 1600 by 1600 photo with all the prompts from the previous month. And I'd forgotten to do that for February, so I did that today. So I guess one of the pieces of advice I would have is find other creative endeavors or other hobbies or other things to go to do to kind of fill in that void of songwriting or community. And you can't replace it, but being creative in other ways or participating in some of these other challenges,
Right.
you know, I mean, most of that takes up a lot of time normally. So kind of being involved with those other things, and it doesn't, you know, with Song Fight, it's usually one song every 10 days. It's not a very strong or strenuous schedule. And I know Alex is heavily involved in the Song Skirmish challenge that's off season.
Yeah, Andy Getch and I run that, and it's basically the whole rest of the year other than FAWM. So 48 writing prompts, 1 a week over the course of a year. And so between us, and then we'll recruit other people from the group to come up with these prompts. And just 1 a week, like a regular skirmish. The idea is to do it in an hour, but we're even less skirmish policed than the FAWM group is. So, you know, however long it takes, the idea is just to write a song each week and keep your writing skills sharp that way. And it's good.
Sweet.
All right.
So when will the new challenge be up?
It's up.
Oh, when's it due?
Andy started it this morning, and so it runs.
Oh, sweet.
Basically, it runs for 1 week. So basically 6 a.m. Central or 7 a.m. Eastern on Friday morning till the following Friday is the week in which it runs, and so next week there will be a new prompt again.
Awesome.
Excellent. That's a good idea to just try to do something. Keep writing. I mean, you don't have to write only during February. Just keep on writing, and then you're better equipped. When I say better equipped when February comes around again.
Well, this is it. The more you write, the better you get at it.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
You can only do it in February. It's no problem, but if you want to be really good, like the rest of us.
That's right.
Speaking of really good, let's go to some more music. There's a track by Jay Madison here, and this one is called "Go Free."
Walking away and he's singing. Heaven knows the way that he's feeling, but I'll never know the things that he's been through. I've only heard a bit of the story, but he doesn't want to take the glory for the things he's done. He's not the only one. Walking and singing, she never gives a place for that feeling that will never show. No, it will never show. But she's going and sowing and reaping, giving other people the reason just to carry on and help them be strong. He has let go and now he's free. She has let go and now she's free. But you never know. No, you never know. But I'll go on hoping and praying, waiting every day to awaken to a brand new start. Coming through my heart. I have let go and now I'm free. Go and now I'm free. I have let go and now I'm free. I have let go and now I'm free.
Go Free by Jay Madison. Really cool sounding track. It's odd when you pair lead vocals with a solo instrument like the electric guitar. It can be a bit disastrous, but it somehow just really worked on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good
I
track.
agree. And I like the tone of that lead. It's dirty enough that it gives it some grit or meat, but it did complement the vocal, instrument and vocal.
We're kind of losing you there, TC. What's
Really?
Yeah, it's been really glitchy for some reason this time around.
I transferred all my internet issues to TC for today.
Yeah, you're doing fine. That's no problem on your end. But TC is it's feeling like Brute falling down in slow motion.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, kind of is, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's just it could be some sort of connection issue. It's just unrelated. Yeah, but like now it's there's a lot of hanging. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But
What'd I say? Doesn't really matter what I say. So
It's like, whose line is it anyway? None of it really matters, you know.
Right.
Points don't matter. Yeah, we should do some sort of improvisation. Anyway, we wanted to do a little bit of a Q&A because we did that last time when we did the Post FAWM cast 5 years ago. So if people, if you have questions for either me, TC, or Metalfoot, please let us hear your questions in the chat room on YouTube, and we'll do our best to answer them. I mean, we don't have any answers, but we can talk for a while. So let's get this Q&A going. 50 points.
I think it's really swell that we didn't warn our guest of this beforehand. That's
well,
you know.
To be fair,
surprise.
To be fair, I forgot.
It's all good, you know? Whatever.
So yeah, there's a lot of nonsense. I mean, there's a bit of a delay with the chat anyway, so we're like 30 seconds ahead of the chat. So let's give it a moment and let's see if people have some questions and that we can really like devour.
African or European sparrows, Sean?
Right? Oh, exactly. What timing? Sean was like, "What is the average velocity of an unladen sparrow?" right as you said that. That was perfect.
Excellent. These guys are just trolling. This is just, I don't know what
Here's a good question.
What expected, but no.
Here's a question for Alex. Who did TC's hair?
I would say Easy Shed is the best place to buy sheds if you're in Australia. But other than that, I don't know.
Now, I have a follow-up question. Do you have experience with any other shed purchasing places?
Around here, there is a spot kind of like Easy Shed that has their sheds on display everywhere with like little flyers saying how much their sheds cost if you want to buy them. But yeah, there you go.
Well, Chris Harris has
all the vacant lots. They got these like 4 or 5 sheds set up with like little flyers saying, "Take this and buy one of our sheds." You know.
Yep.
Almost shed. Chris Harris has an actual question here. Like, what starts your creative process? Is it the lyrics, a drum track, or a loop? So let's do a lightning round. Alex, what starts your...
Okay, for me, creative process 99% of the time starts with a lyric. Either I'll come up with a lyrical idea, or I'll steal somebody else's lyric, or I'll ask them to use it. And then the words themselves suggest a rhythm to the music, which suggests in my head a chord progression or something. And then I work from there to create a tune. So that's the process for me 99% of the time. Once in a while, if I'm forced to, or sometimes this is just how it works, I'll start with music and then go from there. But I don't think I've ever started with a beat and worked from a beat to a tune to whatever. It's always either music or lyrics, but 99% of the time lyrics first for me, personally.
So, TC?
Yeah.
What's the creative process for you? How do you start?
Usually it's music, some sort of music. It could be a riff, or a chord progression, or a strum pattern, a cool rhythm, scratching on the acoustic. But usually, or it could be. There have been times when I've had a phrase that came with a melody. Or I'll have a melody that I'll be, that could be something. And then when I get a phrase that fits it, like doing the dishes or something, then I'm running down and I start working on it or something like that. But typically it's some sort of instrumental something, music. It can be even drums. Sometimes you can get a drum. Like if I'm stuck and nothing's going on, I'll put on the drum machine and pick something and just start playing the guitar, and if nothing comes up, I'll speed it up or slow it down, and then that'll get me some sort of musical whatever, and then that kind of dictates where I go from there. And it's not all music and then I add lyric or anything like that. Idea, a lyric or something to go with it, flesh this out. Sometimes I'll do a section and then work on a little bit and then try to figure out where to go from there. And a lot of times it's when I'm figuring it out, I'm humming or singing, even if I don't have a lyric, as I'm playing kind of at the same time and working it out. But yeah, it's a really, regardless, it's almost always a very quick process. It's okay, here's an idea, run with it, as opposed to something I was looking on the videos on YouTube and some songwriting stuff this summer, and one of the guys was like, and this was crazy to me. He was like, yeah, So I've got this title or this hook, you know, this phrase. So I'm going to do 3 ideas, and then I want you guys to vote on which one, and I'm going to pick that one and write with it. And that was completely foreign to me, and I think that's an awesome way of doing it, as opposed to just the first thing that comes out. It's like, okay, record that, get that idea. Okay, now come up with another idea for the hook. Okay, give me another idea for the hook. Okay, which one's the best? Work on that. That was alien to me, and I really want to try that.
Right.
How about you, Yuha?
Well, for me, it always starts with an idea. Just sit down. I don't play anything. I don't have lyrics or anything. I just try to grab an idea. Like, here's a song, and like something comes to my head, like some sort of feeling how the song is gonna play, and then I try to find that how to do that on an instrument. But typically it's music. But with Pearl, we did a collaboration, and she provided the lyrics. So in those cases, just try to take the lyrics. I take one line and try to maybe start getting some sort of beat going, and then just see how the lyrics could form a vocal melody on top of that beat. So that's one way to do it. Let's see here, another one. Sean McCoffey. Is that how you say coffee?
I think it's McGahey.
Gahey. All right.
Yeah.
You're the expert.
Or even Magooey, depending on which person you come
Magooey.
from. I don't know.
Let's go with that. That sounds
We had
delightful.
I had Sean on the one of the FAWMtalk episodes a couple of years ago, maybe. He called in. I'm sorry, one of the Blog Talk Radio episodes.
Yeah.
He's a good one. I think he actually had a podcast back in the day himself, a songwriting podcast. So he's a good one to talk to.
He asked, what do you gain from FAWMs, or what keeps you coming back every year? So, how about you, TC?
It's the community for me. I write songs year round, so I don't need the excuse of FAWM to write songs anymore. Yeah. And I would say that wasn't true before, but now that is true. But it's just the friendships you make, the collaborations you get to do, this FAWMtalk, this has been being able to talk to somebody different every single week. Get to actually have a voice conversation with Alex, who we've chatted with for hours over the years in the Slack chat. I mean, all these little things that add up to you can't replace that. It's an experience that even if it's just on the site without the chat or without this or without anything else, there's so many interactions that I wouldn't be able to have any other time of the year. Yeah. That's what brings me back. I've had other obligations, and I've purposely moved them or postponed them so that I could have more free time in FAWM before. So,
how about you, Alex?
Yeah, 100%. The community and the relationships that you build with other people from around and about. Like, around here, I'm not aware of there being any songwriting clubs or groups or things like that I can interact with. So this is like my chance to just kind of geek out on my favorite hobby and get to hang out with all sorts of cool people literally around the world. I think this year I did collabs with people on 4 different continents. I mean, like, how awesome is that, And just that sort of thing.
I think for me, it's mostly how else are you gonna get those easy sheds? Did I somehow...
Exactly.
It's true. It's all true. Easy shed.
No, you're good.
But for me, it's like the comments, and I guess that comes back to the community. But it's those sweet nectar of comments. I gotta have those comments. So. Okay, people are asking for more music, so let's go to some more music. And yeah, this one is Radio Over Moscow, and the song's called Lachesism.
Zombies in my hood, Lachesism. Gravitational distortion, Lachesism. We're all dead. Climate change is real, not talks, Lachesism. Jesus coming back, atheist, Lachesism. Former capital deficit, Lachesism. I just wanted to change. Driving on a Capri, 89 Lachesism. Oceanic here, 815 Lachesism. Rocket hooker from 83 Lachesism. What a cash for a pre-modern Lachesism. I just wanted to change, we're not dead yet, so just give me the worst. I just wanted to change. Hit me with the worst you have. Hit me with the worst you have. Hit me with the worst you have. Hit me with the worst you have.
Lachesism by Radio Over Moscow.
That's awesome.
Well, that's an interesting
That
rhythm.
was a great song.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that rhythm was, there was some really cool little bits, the boom, to and some phrasing in the rhythm that was just a little unique, just, or unexpected, that was just awesome. I clicked over on the song page, and it says it's got a pretty long liner notes, but it says anyway, if anyone now asks if it's possible to combine QOTSA, what is that? You know what band that is?
Queens of the Stone Age.
Yes, that's right. And Devo, you can say yes and point them to this song.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, totally.
All right.
Yeah. So they were talking about it in the chat too. So
Devo.
I can still hear that rhythm, man. It's awesome.
So our Q&A is going pretty well. Nobody's asking anything because apparently nobody cares what we think. That's
good.
Good enough reason, right? We should.
As if that's news.
We were getting actually surprisingly many questions last time we did this. I was kind of
That was 5 years ago, before people knew us.
Yeah. Well, I was doing half like a joke, like okay, let's do a Q&A, and everybody was asking a ton of questions. That was incredible.
5 years ago, I didn't know anybody here.
I know TC. I mean,
I've got
kind of.
who?
What?
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 So I've got a few questions since the chat room is or the chat feed is letting us down.
Go ahead.
So what Alex, what advice would you give to a novice songwriter?
The biggest advice I would give to a novice songwriter, I think, would be just keep doing it. Especially with lyrics, focus on finding a good internal rhythm to the lyrics. The syllables don't always have to count up, but you have to have some sort of internal rhythm that's consistent for the verses or for the chorus, or else it's just going to fall apart on itself. And likewise for tunes, try to create tunes that stick in your own head. If they stick in your own head, it makes it a lot easier to record. But just keep working at it. The only way to get better at it is just keep working at it. Don't give up. if your first song sounds like garbage to you, well, my first song sounded like garbage to me too. But you just keep working at it, right?
That is good advice, definitely. Okay, here we go. Chris is asking another question. VST plugins or hardware? And personally, I would say VST all the way, because it's just so easy. How about you? Do you have in TC? You have a lot of stuff, but do you like have any sort of hardware studio equipment?
Yeah, I'm probably right in the middle. So I actually record on a Boss BR 900. It's one of those Porta studios. It's a digital recording studio. It's an 8-track thing that you can plug in, and you can actually take it somewhere else. It runs on batteries, or you can plug it into the wall. But it's got like, I don't know, 30 or 40 Boss Cosm effects built in. So all those different kinds of distortion pedals, and you can model speakers and different types of distortion and kind of make your own pedal, I guess is a good way of doing it. It's got some built-in effects. It's got compression and EQ and stuff. And so you can actually record and mix in that box if you want to. But I use that to record with, so I can get guitar tones through that, or I can use, like I just bought this little Vox MV50 amp or a head, and I can plug this into a cab. It's a 50 watt.
All right.
And so I can take the headphone jack out of that and go into the BR or whatever. So I can record with this hardware with compression and EQ and whatever. But then the tracks out of that, I take the wave files, and I put them into Reaper, and I mix. So I guess it's the best of both worlds.
Okay, yeah. It was kind of jittery there, but I think we got the.
It was lagging.
Yes. How about you, Alex? Do you use VST? Do you use hardware?
This is my recording microphone for 99% of what I record. This is
a little bit more in the middle.
It is a Blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti, yeah.
And so that's what I record most of my instruments through, whether it's the trombones or the guitar. That's what I use for most of my recording. I need to learn how to use VSTs. I need to learn how to use a digital audio workstation. I haven't done either of those yet. Mm-hmm. Once I do, then that'll open up a lot more worlds and possibilities for me. But right now, basically, part of why my workflow is so quick is because I'm not fiddling with software a lot. I'm just literally, okay, what can I actually play? Okay, I'll play that. I'll record that. No. Then if I don't like it, I'll record it again, and so on. It simplifies the workflow versus tweaking all the sounds and presets just right with your VST and all this to get it just so right. Because my guitar makes this sound if I strum it here. It makes a different sound if I strum it here. I know that,
True. Fair enough. Let's see here. Other ones. Dragon Dreams asks, margarine or butter? So, one word answers.
Butter.
Butter, yeah.
Real butter.
Real butter. How about Telecaster or Strat?
Ooh. I'll go. So my main axe is a Mexican Strat that cannot be replaced. It's awesome. Mexican Strats win, but I just got a modern player Tele that's got two singles and a humbucker in it, and I haven't picked up anything else since Christmas. So right now I'm still the Strat guy, but we'll see in the near future.
What are you, Alex?
To be fair, I actually play a Silvertone, so yeah.
Right.
Is it a Strat style or a Tele style?
It's a Gibson SG style.
Oh, okay, SG. There you go.
SG. I've only had my first guitar was a Yamaha, and it was a Strat style guitar. I've tried Teles after that, but I think they're a little bit too clunky. Like you have to, it kind of presses on my hand. So if you just take like one of those sandpaper things and just get like a nice groove in the corner of the telly, then yeah, I think that wins, because I really like the tone. Right, yeah, gotta sound it down, yeah. Okay, let's go to another song before something else happens. Here's a nice collaboration between Zekup and Szymanski. Did we come to any conclusion as to how I pronounce it? Zekup? So, did you?
I think you have it right.
Yeah, Zekup.
Zekup.
Zekup. Zekup. Right.
Zekup.
Excellent. And this one's called Beyond Tipping Point. Beyond Tipping Point by Zekup and Szymanski. And like Airbag Tester was saying in the chat room, really excellent melodic lyrics. That is not an easy thing to do.
That effing rocked.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
Really good sounds today. I mean, I can see why people like these songs. It's getting a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that was, I think somebody in the chat was talking about how hard it is to get those melodic phrases. And why can't I do that? Yeah, I'm with you. That was awesome.
Right. So you got any more of those questions, TC? Gotta keep the show.
Sure.
Leaf.
So we were just having a conversation in the chat a little bit about different guitars and which guitars were used to do what. So we know Alex plays guitar. What other, if any other instruments do you play or do you maybe use to songwrite with?
This is for me? Okay. Yeah. Songwriting instruments. Primarily guitar, mandolin, violin, and I've written songs on the trombone. I will write songs on the piano. Sometimes I'll even write songs on or things like that. Just whatever instrument I have closest to me, if I've got lyrics in front of me, I'll start going with it and see what I can come up with. And so, yeah. But probably 90% of the time it's going to be either guitar or mandolin that I use as my writing instrument. I find because I play those instruments differently, they end up being different sorts of songs. And it really does depend which instrument I'm using to write the music, how the song comes together. And if I write a song on one instrument, that I end up playing it on that instrument, but the instrument I write on determines the structure of the song quite often.
Yeah, very much so.
Because, like, if I write a song on piano, it's going to have a completely different chord structure than anything I write on guitar, just because my fingers move differently on a piano than they do on a guitar fretboard.
Right, yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Absolutely.
So you said you pick up the closest instrument or whatever, but do you ever choose an instrument because of the lyric you're dealing with? You're like, oh, I need to go to the piano because this will give me a different feel, or I'm going to stay on guitar, or okay.
Well, again, as I said earlier about the lyrics coming first, it suggests kind of rhythm in my head, and then that helps me figure out which instrument. And it depends how much of a hurry I'm in, I guess, too. Like, at the moment, I have cleared off the brown couch. There are no instruments sitting on the brown couch, so the closest instrument would be the didgeridoo in the corner, which I've never written a song on, but I guess there's a first time for everything. And also the piano about 8 feet away from me, directly in my line of sight, but you can't see it because the camera's pointing in the opposite direction. So, yeah. And obviously, like, if you've listened to any of my kids' output, most of their stuff is either on the piano or on the ukulele, because those are the two instruments they have available to them.
Right.
Do we get any questions here? Oh, Chris is asking all the questions here. Big question. How do you cope with Post FAWM withdrawal symptoms?
Chris is awesome.
We were kind of talking about this earlier. Yeah, Chris is awesome.
He's late to the party.
The short answer, we don't.
Yeah. Ta-da!
FAWM never ended. It never ended. It's still going in my head.
Right. And when with songs like this, who can argue? Here we go. Let's listen to this one. We got another. We have a lot of collaborations. People are really. They're not owning their own talent. They're only selecting songs that they did with someone else. Okay, but this one's a really good one though. So who can argue with that? Say this one's called a Chrononaut, and it's by Stickboy and the Serviettes.
We build a box and we build it together. Step back in time and I live on forever with you. You should know if we're stuck in a timeline. Realize that with me that will be just fine.
of us step right through and embrace what's before us. And try our best to avoid paradoxes. All of space-time is there to unlock it with you.
Chrononaut by Stick Boy and the Serviettes. Really groovy music today.
I don't. Oh yeah.
You know what?
So both of those farmers, that was Tomsky and Sailing Magpie, but I didn't recognize the artist names, and I think I should have, because I've grabbed a Tomsky track before to save in my favorites best of download list, but I was like, who are these people? But yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that I love the darkness on that. If you go to the song page, they talk a little bit about how this collaboration came into being, and so they had vocal lines with a 2-chord little rhythm underneath it, and then everything you hear, this dark texture was added, and that's a really cool way of producing a track. But the result was phenomenal.
Right, I concur. Really good.
Cream soda?
Yeah, this one's cream soda. Alex, there was a question for you in the chat room that you kind of answered there, but how do you get your kids to write with you? This is an interesting one. I kind of like if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, because it is interesting that your kids are also interested in songwriting. So how does it typically go with you guys?
I think the big thing is my kids are kind of at that perfect age where they like to do the things that their parents like to do. They haven't hit the teenage, so that helps. But honestly, we're just a very musical family. My wife and I both are instance, so kids will model what their parents do. So they see Kelly playing piano or guitar or bass, or they see me playing guitar or mandolin or ukulele or whatever, trombone, and they'll go, okay, I ought to play an instrument too. So they all take piano lessons. They all sing regularly, both at home and of course at church. We do a lot of singing at church too, and so that makes a big difference, I think, for the musical education of the kids. They've absorbed a lot more than they realize.
I think it's important if you want, and I don't have any good experience because my kids shun me, but the earlier start, the younger they are, the more normal it is. It's just another activity, as opposed to, oh, I'm not going to put my voice in front of people, or I'm not going to do something that can be risky, self-esteem wise. And I know by the time I was like my youngest was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do something," and her and a couple of the neighbor kids came together and they had a little musical track that I recorded and posted up on, I think, 5090 one year. But within she was, I don't know, 10 years old or something. Within a year or two, she was like, "There's no way I'm going to do this. I'm not." You're not getting to get me and do any of this. And she played softball in front of college coaches and had pressure, and she can deal with it. But when it came to singing and putting herself out there, being a creative in front of other people, she was, she was going to have none of it. So I think that if I would have had her a little more when she was interested when she was younger, if I would have gotten her more involved or encouraged her a little bit more, I think that could have changed how much she did later. But she definitely veered more towards athletics than music, so who knows?
No, it's all good. And I've had this experience when I was teaching guitar to like kids, like teenagers or whatever, and we would do some sort of rhythmic exercises where you're like tapping rhythm and then you're singing kind of the rhythmic notation as you go. It's like da 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 da, and that sort of thing. And I would do this, and then I would tell them to do it, and they would just like sit there timidly and like kind of half-heartedly tap around, but they would never open their mouths. And I was asking them, does it sound stupid to you when I do it? And then they kind of get it, like, okay, no, no, it doesn't. So then you sort of, that's one way to get them to realize that there's nothing stupid in doing that. It's just a way to get practice.
Yeah.
Of course,
a lot of it is perception over reality. You're afraid to make a mistake, or you're afraid to look foolish, or you're afraid to, what people will think or what somebody will say. But, especially if you're in a learning situation, that's how you get better. Yeah. I wish I would have started performing in front of people. I've got horrendous stage fright, but I wish I would have started way earlier than I did, because the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the longer I'm away, the harder it gets. So, but I mean, just getting people and pushing that comfort. If you can, if the people that I've met in my life, kids all the way up to retirees, doesn't matter, the ones that are able to push themselves into uncomfortable situations and try things that they're not comfortable doing, they are the most interesting people, because it's not that they're not afraid, it's that they're going to push themselves. I think that's a skill. If we can if I could teach that to my kids, which I failed horribly on doing that, but if I could teach that to one thing to my kids, I think that putting yourself out there and trying things and not being too worried about what other people think, and in some areas I succeeded, but in other areas, I didn't. And of course, it's not all up to me on how they live their life or how they react, and each person's different. But that's something I definitely should have encouraged more.
What do you think? Is it easier for you to perform in front of people you know, or people who are complete strangers?
Strangers for me.
Yes.
Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by
it depends on the people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some people I know, it's very, very easy to perform in front of them. Sometimes it's much easier to perform in front of total strangers. I don't have a ton of experience with this, but like performing music live, I mean. But in the experiences I have had, which is I could probably count on one hand generally, the strangers tend to be more surprised in a positive way. The people I know are more like, yeah, of course, we always knew you could do that. Sure. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a weird feeling when it's my wife. Like, she's heard me sing and play more than anybody else, I think, other than maybe bandmates, that I've been in, where we practice hours at a time. But so she's heard me at my best. She's heard me at my worst. She's quietly supportive, like completely, like in all the ways that matter.
Quietly judgmental.
No, it's so.
No, I get what he's saying. Yeah.
Like she won't hardly ever. She'll say, like, encourage me. She doesn't vocalize that hardly at all. but in all the ways that matter, in the when I need to be doing music, or if I'm having a struggle, or if I ask her, she's 100% supportive. Like in all the way, like, and it's kind of backwards from what most people, or like what I thought I wanted was somebody say, "Yo, you're doing a good job," and encouraging that way. But I'd much rather have the support when it matters. Like, don't worry about the dishes tonight, go do this, you know, you can do them tomorrow, or don't worry about, we were gonna cook this, you know. All those things are way more important to me, and more valuable to me. But I also find that if she's coming to the gig, there's a level of stress that is, it's different. It's not more and it's not really less. It's different than I have just preparing and going. And I think it's a combination of things, to be honest, and I never really got to the root of why I feel that way. So
yeah, it is interesting because I would have said that it's easier to perform in front of strangers as well, but then Airbag Test just said that. Let me see if I can find the comment. Is saying, "Oh, definitely people you are are easier." So then I started thinking, like, okay, if people are coming over to my house and I have like the guitar and I'm singing some songs, the people I know, I can do it with people I know and my good friends. But if there are some like strangers, maybe friends of my girlfriend or people I don't know as intimately, then I have more reservations of just picking up the guitar and start singing or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, and I think it something happened with one of my wife's sisters years ago. Well, a bunch of years ago. I don't even know if we were married yet. Probably just married, but and to this day, I don't pick up the guitar, perform with them. You know, one year it was suggested, she has a family get together at the holidays, and they were like, "Oh, you should bring a guitar," and I refused, and it was because of one interaction that was completely innocent. It wasn't like, but it was very negative. But it was, looking back on it, it shouldn't have been, and I don't do that. I don't share my music with them when I have releases stuff. I don't tell them about it. I don't, and it's all me psychologically. But I think that plays into it a little bit because, and in some ways, it's easier to impress people that I know because I don't share the music with them that much, and so, you know, it's just something I do. It's a little hobby, and then when they actually hear something that I'm proud of, or if I've worked on a guitar, so I want to play you something, a lot of times they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize, you know, you could do that," or "I didn't know you played like that," or whatever. Right. It's almost easier to impress them because I don't share as much with them. Whereas with strangers, they're
Sorry. You kind of cut out there. Strangers are expecting what?
So sometimes strangers are expecting some sort of aptitude or level of proficiency.
Yeah, right.
Where, you know, so which can be comforting in a way. And, you know, at first for me that was worrisome. It's like, oh, I've got to be good. Like I can't make a mistake. And it didn't take too long to realize that most audience members don't catch 90%, 90% of the mistakes that somebody makes. Like other musicians can, and even them, they understand. Everybody has a bum note here, there, or a slightly off timing, or something happens in a show.
Everybody.
But and it's a lot more forgiving than you imagine before you go and do it regularly. And so I would say my cover band days were the best thing that I've ever done as far as being able to perform, whether it's in front of people I know or not, because if in my original band, you know, if something was a little off kilter, they don't know how the song's supposed to go half the time, right? So you can kind of fake it, or, you know, if they know that it was a little rough, it was just like, oh, you know, there was an incident, but they don't have no idea. But if you're sitting there playing, taking care of business, and mess up on the rhythm on it, everybody knows how that song is supposed to go. You know, and so, but I definitely think the more you do it, the easier it gets, regardless of who. But for and like people at work want me to play a song every once in a while. I found an acoustic guitar in the recycle bin, and I was playing some stuff, and
Cool.
and you get weird reactions, and I don't mind doing it for them. It's kind of weird, but I just start making up songs about people if they start, because you always get the smart asses that are saying, oh, turn, you're awful or whatever. They're just giving you crap because that's what they do, and that's cool. And if you're not prepared for that, I mean, that can hurt, regardless of who you are, how good you are, whatever. You don't ever want to hear that. But so if they start making fun of me, I start singing louder, more off key, and I just start making up lyrics about whoever it is and whatever they did wrong yesterday, or
Right.
and if they stumble through or they turn around and say, watch out for the door or something, and it's hilarious. And so
That is
so
excellent.
I just have fun with it.
Right.
I honestly, performing, just having fun with it, that is, if you have fun, if you enjoy yourself, the audience is probably going to have fun. If you
Yeah.
don't have fun, if you're making it a big ordeal, the audience probably isn't going to have as much fun as they would if you were having a good time. And it took me a while to figure that out. It took us as a band a long time to figure it out. And then finally, we were at a gig, and I mentioned Taking Care of Business. Somebody said, hey, play Taking Care of Business. And we'd never played it. We didn't know about it. But the singer that was in that band is a really good friend of mine, knows all the classic rock lyrics. Like, he can sing half or all the songs that's ever been done classic rock, which is awesome.
Right.
And he was like playing bass. He's like, oh, it goes like this. We'll play it in this key. And then he sang it, and we played it. Yeah. So we play this song. It's the first time the band's ever played it, right? Like, we've never practiced it. I've never played it before. And we get to the rhythm, jun, 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 and it's like, I'm like, what? And we did it. We pulled it off, and it was sloppy, and it was awful. And we were laughing at each other, and, oh, you screwed up, and pointing at each other. And there was 5 of us, and the audience went wild. That was the song they loved the best. Okay, so the song we performed, the worst by far, but the song we had the most fun performing went over the best.
So
Light
about the
bulb
show
goes off.
Right.
From that point on, it was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get this performance thing.
Right.
If I enjoy it, they're probably going to enjoy it.
Okay, let's go to some more music.
Yeah, sorry I bailed out on you guys. I had to return a 4-track cassette recorder to my neighbor across the street.
No
I
worries.
warned you I was going to do that.
Right. You said that in the chat room, so I picked it up.
Yeah.
I picked it up,
I
and
had
then
no
you
idea.
picked it up. Well, TC is like, it's mostly oblivious to anything happening outside of his. Like,
Mostly. Completely.
So here's another track. This one is this track called Princess, and it's by Ansojen Nilki. So that's some name there.
Are you getting...
Princess.
Yes, but you're
Go on.
a girl. And you're selling flowers, too.
Oh, what a boring day. I'm standing in my I've missed you.
Princess by Ansoyen. I'm sorry. That's a beautiful track, but this is a Finnish nickname and it's just so random. It's kind of cracking me up. Absolutely wonderful track.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of getting me envious is I want to work with vocalists like that. It's just a wonderful voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she delivered the goods. The vocal on that really, I like the piano playing in it. I like the intro, the clip. I'm going into it, but the vocal was definitely her performance of the vocal and the melody really carries that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people just have really good sounding voices, and that's one of those people.
Yeah, and also you kind of have to use the voice in an appropriate way. This is well, you don't have to, but this is how I've because I wanted to do a lot of like EDM type of music this FAWM, and I did a little bit, but not as much as I would have hoped. But also I was thinking about maybe singing in a few of them, but I really don't have a voice for that type of music, and that's troubling to me. And then I was thinking like my friends who are vocalists who sing, and I was trying to think, do any of those people have a voice that kind of fits EDM music? Not really. But this is one of those voices that I could clearly imagine in a like a very EDM type of track. And yeah, it's weird. You kind of have to find the right voice for the right type of music. Of course, there are genres that anything goes, but especially with EDM, that's very specific type of.
Exactly. Like you got to know what fits your voice best, and so you go with that, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's one take acoustic.
Well, it's gonna be something else. We'll find it one day, right? You just gotta keep.
That's right.
Trying different things. Yeah. I mean, I love the disco track.
Alex has a good voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to play with all sorts of different styles and genres, as everybody's pretty much aware too. I love multi-tracking vocals. That's like one of my favorite things to do during FAWM. As many vocal tracks and layers as I can. 15090, I did a song that had, I think, 12-part harmony, and that was just so much fun to put together.
Right, yeah. Where'd TC go? TC!
I'm here. I'm having streaming difficulties. If I turn off the camera, then I can hear what's going on.
Oh, alright. Oh, that's too bad, but
I'll be back.
At least it's the last show, so.
Yeah, it'll be alright. I was saying that I really like Alex's voice. He's done several songs over the last year or two that that really showcases the texture and tone of his vocals. So I think it's one of his stronger instruments. So
I would agree.
Yeah.
I look at my voice as my primary instrument out of all the ones that I use for FAWM or 5090 or other writing things. So
yeah, that's. I definitely don't think the same of myself, but I don't know. It's kind of, I've got a love-hate relationship with my voice. This last year, I'd say last fall after 5090, and maybe even before then, but I got to the point where some of the songs I was doing, I would do 1 or 2 takes, and it was amazing how well I liked my voice and my vocal performance, and how easy it is to mix when you get a good take. Just unreal. And then I've kind of regressed, and I think part of it is the keys that I'm writing in.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I don't really. I just typically I'll write it, and if I start singing and it doesn't sound bad, I just go with it. But I'm definitely going to be playing with some key changes and songs that I've written in the last couple of months to see what works best for some keeper songs if I re-record them.
Right.
Speaking of writing in the wrong keys, and I love him for it. Z Cooper, however you say it. Every time he sends me a track to work on, he sends it in a key that I would never pick to sing in for myself. So there you go. Every time he's always like writing in like A flat or something. It's like, this is not a key that suits my voice well, but I guess I got to do it. So we do.
It's weird. Some keys
and the songs always turn out great, but it's a lot of extra work for me because it's not a natural key for my voice.
Right. And it's definitely a problem, or can be a problem. I've discovered that when I'm singing certain keys, there are notes, like just one note that I just can't get that note correct. And if I sing in something like C major or A minor or something like that, I've done it so much that I can pretty much nail every note. But if you go to something, let's say A flat major or something, like you said, there might be one note that it's impossible for me to get right. Or not even the pitch wise, but it might be just in the middle of where you go from chest voice to head voice. That it's just
right on the break.
Yeah, it falls there, and it can't get enough power on it. It's just somehow it's like there's like a threshold there. You can either go like here or you can go here. It's in the middle is just this weird sort of awful noise.
For me, when my voice starts to go, the lower part of the range, it's not even super low. It's just the bottom half, I guess, of my range. It just loses something in its heart. And I would say when I don't feel confident, I have a worse vocal performance, regardless of how strong my voice is. And so I think a lot of my issues were when I had 3 or 4 songs that I did in a row with good vocal performances, then that got me on a roll. And then when I got one, it wasn't a big deal. But when I had 2 or 3 that I struggled with, then it psychologically it got me into a spot. But just writing songs where it's in my vocal wheelhouse just changed the mixing process, and some of that's just range. I've got a song that I did this FAWM, and the guitars sound awesome. I think the songwriting is some of my best in FAWM in a long time, but the vocal performances, I just got to the point where it's like, okay, screw it, it's fine, I FAWM'd it, and then
good enough for FAWM, yep.
Yeah, and then so when I go back to it, I think the production is actually pretty darn good. If I can get and I might end up changing the key and re-recording it, but if I can get a good vocal performance out of it, I think it's something that I'll be really proud of.
So here's a question for Alex by Sean. Can you reflect on the incredible success of the Fake It Challenge and the variety of interpretations of your song? So I guess you never really expect the amount of success anything gets, but what was your expectation? Were you...
Okay, well, the whole Fake It Challenge was just like, this is going to be a fun game for maybe 5 or 6 people. You know, I'll write a generic lyric and throw some kind of cookie cutter chords on it and see what people can come up with. Because, again, this is kind of, I guess I was giving people some of my own writing process and see how it works for them. Because this is basically more or less how I write. Start with the lyrics, then put chords on it, and then do the melody based on that, more or less. And so it's kind of fun to see people run with it and see just how different and yet how the same they all were. Because we had differences in rhythm, differences in instrumentation, differences in the overall feel and style of it, and it all turned out really cool. I was simply blown away that there was 24 versions of it at the end of the day. That's the thing that's just like, as I said, I was expecting 5 or 6, and here 24 versions. Like, I'm really glad I put the proviso on the FAWM Fake It Challenge that they were not to list me as a collaborator, because you know, I don't need 24 collabs on the same song, but you know, it was awesome. And I think it was a fun writing exercise for me as well to kind of try to write something generic that wasn't set up for my voice or for me to sing, where it's just kind of, here's a tune structure that I'll just throw out to the world. Whoever wants to use it, they can use it. And there's been a number of people say, hey, let's do this again at 59 or your next FAWM. So I'll see if I can come up with something like that again next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun.
That's the dream of getting 24 people to participate in your challenge. That's where the real money is.
There you go. All that FAWM money. Oh, yes.
Oh, there we go. Change for the
he's
better.
improved in his appearance.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Let's get some more
Great
music.
minds think alike.
Okay, here's one. Here's a track called "I Want the World," and this is by one of our earlier guests, Cairo Braga. Let's go with this one.
I can make myself up nice, put on a bright dress with dark green tights. I can loudly speak my mind, put on a stage show and reach new heights. I don't care about what anyone says, the shades of grey won't do. I want every other color too. There's more to life than love and what it conveys. It ain't wrong to want the world. I don't care about what anyone says, the shades of grey won't do. I want every other color too. There's more to life than love and what it conveys. It ain't wrong to want the world. I can size up all my dreams, bring down the barriers, tear up all the seams. I can aim so high and wide, my head is full of wishes, there's no reason I should hide. I don't care about what anyone says, the shades of grey won't do. I want every other color too. There's more to life than love and what it conveys. It ain't wrong to want the world. I don't care about what anyone says, the shades of grey won't do. I want every other color too. There's more to life than love and what it conveys. It ain't wrong to want the world. We should all realize there's a lot beyond the things we're shown. We should all take the time to know it's alright to want it all and then some. I don't give a shit if you wanna prove the whole spectrum won't do. I'll have all that's invisible too. There's more to share than no feelings come along. Yes, I want your love and I want the world. I don't give a shit if you wanna prove the whole spectrum won't do. I'll have all that's invisible too. There's more to share than no feelings come along. Yes, I want your love and I want the world.
I Want the World by Cairo Braga. It's a really fun dance track. So, you doing any better there, TC?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Things are falling apart. I mean,
I'm trying things.
We've had the set for so long; it's starting to crumble. I mean, we got it from the army surplus, I think. So it's yeah. We just have like stickers, and I mean, adults call them decals, I think. Everything is going to the crapper.
It's the last show. It's allowed, right?
Yes. Yeah. It should
Yeah.
be. Next time.
I ruined it. I broke it. It's my fault.
No. It's many.
It's all
many
TC's
things.
fault.
It's many things. It's the internet. It's the Discord. I mean, next time you gotta remember not to use the Discord. Maybe we'll try Hangouts or something. Maybe in 5 years there'll be more and better services for this sort of thing.
Yep. And so the reason he said in 5 years, so far our pattern is to do FAWMtalk every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
There you
Yeah.
go. That works.
Yep.
So 2024.
14, 19. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So, give or take a year or 3. It's a tentative schedule, at best.
So are you planning on doing 50/90 this year?
Does it snow in Canada in the winter?
Does it?
Does it snow in Finland?
Yeah, I mean, I have a series of songs I gotta finish at some point, so, 50/90 is a good excuse to keep working on that. For those of you who are not aware, my incredible goofy project, spurred on by our friend Stephen Wordsmith, he challenged me a couple years ago already. I think it was shortly after I wrote the song Niobium, celebrating my 41st birthday, that I should write songs on every element of the periodic table. And that stuck with me. And then this year I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And so crazy enough, I did the first 14 during FAWM, and I'm going to keep rolling. So, yeah.
Keep on.
50/90, get prepared for a lot of chemistry, folks.
Yeah.
How many are there?
118, I think. But some of the higher numbered elements are still kind of under question because they're, debated. Did you really observe that in the atomic collider and all that stuff, right? So,
If it was me, the debates would be a lot different. Like, is this really necessary?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, honestly, I've joked about this, but this is probably what's going to happen is I'm going to end up doing a 10 by 10 for the last few elements because there's just nothing really to say about them.
Well, right. Yeah, you can take a little bit of creativity, but you can make that into a song in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Harris is already buying your album, your periodic table album. He's putting those pre-orders in, get that FAWM money.
That's right.
Eric has the best. Don't forget Unobtainium.
Unobtainium, yeah. Oh yes.
Oh dear. So many good ideas. How can you make good on them all?
So I guess this challenge is, depending on how successful the colliders are, could be an ongoing challenge for decades to come.
No. I'll stop with whatever they have at the time I'm done.
Absolutely.
No.
Next year they come up with 100 more.
Yeah, Alex put his foot down. No. It's my project. I determine what constitutes a beginning and what constitutes an end.
That's right. Of course,
Oh boy.
Yeah, awesome.
Untitled?
Yeah, that's element 115. They don't have a name for it yet.
Right. There are at least 3 elements named after the town of Ytterby in Sweden.
Because that's the only place they ever found the silly things is near that town of Ytterby. So that's why.
It's like way north?
It's like yttrium and ytterbium, and there's like one other one that I don't remember. But yeah, I'll have to research them. That's been the fun part of doing that series, actually. Just digging through like the Royal Sciences and all that spot, and like digging up all this information on these elements and reading about them and jotting down ideas and putting stuff together. It's fun.
Right.
In a nerdy kind of way.
I remember a track by Charlie Cheney called Selenium that was absolutely awesome years ago.
Yeah, and I'm still fond of Niobium. Like, I can still sing that song largely from memory because it was just a well-constructed song. So, yeah.
Yeah. Another challenge you could do is just come up with 108 of your own elements. Just take a word and put onium at the end. Like Frenchonium.
The suffering.
Sufferonium.
I see in the chat talking about Pluto. One of my kids actually did a series of songs on the planets a couple years ago. That was pretty fun. She went through and did one song for each of the planets in the solar system. It was pretty awesome.
Right.
Oh, that is cool.
I wondered for a long time, like, are there? Does anybody here know? Because I'm very ignorant when it comes to this stuff. But do people know? Are there planets that are kind of in our solar system that are also kind of outside of the solar system, like exoplanets or whatever you call those, that are outside of like Pluto? But I've heard stuff like there may be three planets that are circling the sun that are outside of Pluto.
Yeah.
Do you?
Not my area of interest, so
That is
possible.
Really. This is really.
I've read a few articles about that, but they're I guess they're still hunting for one. They think that there's a rather large one out there that they haven't identified yet.
Really?
Based on the travel of Pluto and the orbits and how it's affected. So, and then we had the not too long ago we had pictures of it's not a planet but of an item that's out there circling. It was the farthest one we've got pictures of through the
item,
whichever probe it was that went by there.
Item,
so yeah,
it's like a mixtape.
Yeah. What's that?
Like a mixtape.
Mixtape.
Yeah.
You see, Chris is telling us that there's hundreds of Kuiper Belt objects. That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you know this stuff?
Read.
No, but how do they know that stuff?
Chris is awesome. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Like he's just a huge nerd like the rest of us, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta get out there and where the sun is shining no more.
The question is though if there's any planet size or bigger, large planet or planet size, and Chris is informing us in the chat that all the big KBOs are shifted to one side, which indicate that there would be a larger.
Yeah, but even so, are they kind of useless?
I don't know. I think that when you're like, there's been some discoveries on how things came to be, like how planets were formed or how things happen, and getting a better understanding of our own. I mean, and I've always wondered, so let's say we've got all the data on our own solar system and we've got a pretty good idea of how it goes up. That doesn't make our solar system the normal solar system. It could be an outlier as well. But all that information has come into surprisingly different ways into technology and learning how to, in physics in general. And so I think learning and discovering and finding more stuff, the scientific word stuff, finding out more stuff.
Stuff of stars.
You don't know what that's going to lead to. You don't know what discovery that's going to be. You don't know what that's going to lead to in the course of the human race leaving Earth at some point. If the sun behaves properly and
Sure.
And we have the chance to do that.
But we still are a species that is very much earthbound, I guess. Are we? Because there are, of course, like very out there theories that human species was originally living on Mars, and when that became uninhabitable, somehow the human species was transferred to Earth. But like Mars isn't too far away. It's still very big temperature-wise. It's very much like you could live there, I think.
Yeah. So from the articles I've read, which are very few and a while ago, but it seems that at one time Mars had a atmosphere, water, so it potentially could be hospitable for human type life forms. I don't know. I think it's interesting, and part of my problem is I've been reading Robert Heinlein books lately, so I've got to be sure that I take my my scientific article reading and separate that from the man from Mars that comes back to Earth, and so a stranger in a strange land story. And some other movies that I've seen recently, which are pretty cool, but it's pretty far fetched at this point in human history. A little bit of chatting of like, are we the only life form in the entire universe? The reasons why it would be hard to have more life forms, or the chances of having more life forms, and you really if you think about the course of the Earth and what had to happen for us to be here, and how dinosaurs roamed the Earth, and until they were basically, all the big ones were wiped out, did mammals really come to dominate? And like, what's the chances of that? And I have no idea. I mean, it could be literally astronomical in chances. And
right.
And I guess my point is learning more of something that probably isn't going to benefit us in the short term, but learning more about the solar system and what goes on outside of Pluto, and finding surprising results will probably say that it will be beneficial in some way in the future.
Yeah, well, they're already talking about like space forces and trying to utilize the resources in the asteroid field, and there are a lot of science fiction stories about that, and could be in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I think at some point that's going to be viable.
I know there's a number of I've written this year too about various space probes, like the one on Mars that went dark during FAWM or whatever, that spawned a couple songs, because this is something that's really interesting. Again, not necessarily immediate practical usefulness to the data, but it's just it's part of that quest for curiosity and exploring, which is, I think, part of what makes us human.
Yeah.
Creativity, right?
It's
just in a different way.
Endless rabbit hole.
Yeah,
definitely
kind of worms. Let's get another song going here. I feel like I'm embarrassing myself. But speaking of, if people don't know about this challenge, there was this. We talked about this in an earlier FAWMtalk. Do we have a? No, we didn't. Because TC was telling or talking about this. An easy shit challenge. I don't know if it was a challenge in and of itself, but it was. There was this spam account.
A FAWM meme.
Yeah, FAWM
meme is what it was.
A spam account advertising easy sheds, and a lot of people found this very inspiring, and there have been multiple collaborations with the account Easy Shed, and this is one of them. It's by Toonslayer 2018, and the song is simply called Easier Than Easy Shed. And of course, the collaborator is Easy Shed.
Traveling with triplets on a transatlantic flight, explaining to your girlfriend where you were the other night, conjugating Russian verbs while standing on your head. Lots of things are easier than easy shed. Getting tons of snow and digging out from underneath, eating steak and lobster when you haven't any teeth, flying to New Zealand in a Zeppelin made of lead. Any things are easier than easy shed. Tying hands behind your back and climbing up a tree, understanding Einstein's special relativity, chewing through the leather straps and falling out of bed. Many things are easier than easy shed. Win a wrestling match against an Amazonian snake. Read the works of Marcel Proust and try to stay awake. Charging like a lunatic where angels fear to tread. Many things are easier than easy shed. I have a better chance of doing all of those instead of ever buying anything from Easy Shed.
Easier Than Easy Shed by Tuneslayer 2018 and Easy Shed. Just a classic song. It's a FAWM 2019 classic already.
Yes, definitely.
Oh boy, so many good songs. We got a couple more to go.
Sweet. Yeah.
And
that was,
is easier than easy shed. Be singing that for hours now.
Yes, that's like it. Those guys should really utilize this. There are so many advertisement jingles they could really, really take advantage of.
I don't think they'd want to use Sapience as jingle somehow.
What was that? I didn't hear that one.
Oh yeah.
I gotta listen to that now.
You don't know. It might be the shed company that appeals to a different demographic. They could find a use for it.
There you go.
Maybe they'll sponsor an album release of 8 or 10 of the Easy Shed songs.
Not maybe, probably.
Well, I think at this point it's definite.
Yeah. It's just a matter of money.
Yeah, just as soon as we approach them and give them the idea, it'll get the ball rolling.
Think of how much advertising budget we've just saved them here on FAWM, right? Like, seriously.
I don't know about you, but I refuse to buy an Easy Shed from Australia.
Australia.
Well, as I said, I don't need to go to Australia. They have this big display, like, just a couple miles down the road here.
So what you're saying is the Easy Shed advertising worked great for some other Canadian company.
Exactly.
At this point, they got all this advertisement. There's going to be a huge chain at some point. So it's
it's coming to the States now.
We
started a movement.
We got Easy Shed emporiums all over the world.
Emporiums. Yes.
Ogden will.
Oh, goodness.
Oh man, what are we gonna do after performance? I mean, I've gotten so used to doing the FAWMtalk thing, so I have to find something to fill my days with.
Yeah. It's too bad we can't find a podcast that could make us money.
Couldn't we? Well, let us know in the chat room if you have ideas for a podcast that could make us money.
The Send Us Money podcast.
We will take our clothes off.
Yeah. Wait, what?
So, the shitcast.
Oh yeah. So, who is that? Ben? Right. The album production challenge. I want to mention that real quick. So on Facebook, there's an album production challenge Facebook group, and it's just there to encourage each other. It's not really a challenge, but the idea is in the next 2 months, by May 1st, that we actually produce a song of some sort, release it in some medium, get it beyond the typical FAWM level. Although some of the tracks I've heard in FAWM are going to be better production-wise than what I release in 2 months, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so if anybody wants to join that, we pretty much let everybody in, and if somebody starts trouble, we kick them back out.
I might join. I mean, we could do a monthly album production podcast, right?
Yeah, we could.
We definitely.
I don't see how to make money off of that, though.
We'll figure it out.
Actually, yeah. Well, and we don't need to get into it, but actually, I've noticed that people who write and sell books and do podcasts and YouTube videos, that's an income stream for them. So I was thinking you should probably have a opportunity to get your how to play guitar book polished up, and then do something that way and actually have an income stream.
Yeah, let's do a guitar podcast. I mean, definitely, I will not be doing it alone. So gotta have like more guitarists. Yeah.
I can supply the guitars, but not the knowledge or playing ability. Or
you can be the one who asks questions.
Oh, I've got a lot of questions.
And I'll just be like, let me tell you anyway.
Yeah, and yeah.
Let's go to the next song, right? This is a song called "All That Matters," and it's another good one. It's by Christian and Dina. That's there. All That Matters.
It was always you, but I only knew from the moment that we started. Love is all that matters. We built it up, we danced around, we had such a fine time sailing. And my friends keep reminding me, as if there's something I need to know, that the world continues, certainly, even after we've let go. But they don't know, if time stands still, as it often will, we can step inside together forever. Every word is true, and it's all for you. 'Cause even when it's over, love is all that matters.
All That Matters by Christian and Dina.
Yeah,
Sweet track.
I love the sound of that.
Absolutely. It's been fun.
Oh, Chris in the chat said it wouldn't sound out of place on a Randy Newman album, and that nailed it for me.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
that was.
So I think we're...
Excellent.
Yeah. Do you have more to say about that track?
Just that it's excellent.
Yeah, it is excellent, yeah.
So no.
All right, then. Well...
Excellent track, would listen again. Yeah.
Yes. 3 thumbs up.
Oh, I've got a comment.
Yep.
Shit strong, dog.
Well...
Okay, I take it back.
We almost made it. We... So...
That
we're getting ready...
darn TC did it again.
TC. You
Getting rid of TC.
Yeah, I think TC won't be in the next show.
Oh, so it's a win-win. It's a win for you and a win for me.
Renegotiating the deal. But
awesome.
I think we're getting ready to call it quits here. It's been fun, though. I mean, I definitely enjoyed all of the shows this year. I'm so glad you asked me to do this again.
I was just thinking about that. I'm not sure that's how that worked. I think we kind of talked each other into it.
Yeah, you said like let's do it, huh? And I was like, are you serious? You're like, well, I don't know.
So
am I?
Yeah. So I was planning on doing. So I feel bad when there's not a podcast, and I don't know why. Like I'm not the podcast guy, or maybe I'm becoming the podcast guy just because if I don't do it, it doesn't seem to get done. But so I was just thinking, okay, what can I do that I would like to do that's not going to be that stressful?
Yeah.
So I just put the idea out back in January before the site reset. I'm like, if anybody wants to be interviewed, then shoot me a song or two. We'll do an interview over Skype or something. I'll make a podcast of it. Just put it in Reaper and edit it down to where it's 30-minute whatever, 20, 30, 40 minutes at most, and we'll just release those. But it'll be mainly FAWMers throughout FAWM, so people can have this way we can share a few songs from FAWM, some of the artist songs, and do that. And then my idea was that I would continue to do that like once a month in the off season as well, and it would be something that I would start and do.
Yeah.
But as it came closer to FAWM, I realized that I didn't really have a way, like I didn't have Skype set up. I still don't have it set up on this computer, and I needed to work out some details. And so I was getting ideas from different people on how to do it. And I'm sure it could have worked multiple ways, figuring out how to get my phone to record if I just had a phone call, because that would be really easy for people in the States. I could do a bunch that way. I could get a bunch of these put together so that it wasn't I'm doing an episode. So we were just mentioning it in the chat, and you kind of were open. It's like, oh, the FAWMtalk thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just assumed after 5 years that this would never happen again. Yeah, and the best thing about it was you were like, oh, how would we do this from the technical side? And then you just ran with it. It was like boom, and I was like. I remember sitting back the next day going, I think this might happen, and I think I've agreed to it maybe, but I need to tell my wife I'm going to be busy. And then you were like, I was like thinking like, okay, we'll do FAWMtalk, two shows a week, no big deal, won't take up a lot of time. And you're like, let's do 6 shows a week. I'm like, no, let's not. So it was really cool that we were able to do this and that we didn't talk each other out of it, because I think it would have been easy if one of us had reservations that it wouldn't have happened. But I really did enjoy the FAWMtalks, and especially interviewing, or at least having guests and having this opportunity to talk to Alex and other people. It was absolutely a highlight of this FAWM for me. So
yeah,
I appreciate you taking the technical side of that.
Yeah,
anytime.
And thank you to both of you for having me on this evening. It's been fun. Yeah, it's always good to talk about music and to get to listen to music with people, so thank you.
No, thank you for finally being in the show. I mean, we've been trying to talk you into it.
I was hard to schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we finally made it happen after FAWM, and it was super fun. Super fun.
Yeah, but it worked out. That's all that was important.
That's the lesson here.
Yeah.
All right.
And thanks to everybody that's listened throughout the month. We really appreciate it. Without that feedback and the chat and stuff, it's not the same.
It couldn't have been easy. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, everyone. If we ever do this again, somebody's gonna have to talk us into it. That might happen. Yeah. I'll be looking a lot more gray, and TC is gonna be even bolder if possible.
Maybe I'll shave my beard.
Please. Don't do that.
Just for FAWMtalk.
You could wear one of those bald caps, but just wear it on your chin.
Ah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
We'll see. When 2024 comes around, we'll see how we feel.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Awesome.
Okay, the last song of FAWMtalk 2019 is gonna be by Dominic Gray, and this one is called Co-Worker. So thank you again, everyone, for watching, listening, tuning in, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye.
Later.
It's a Tuesday night in the middle of December. I'm home alone and I'm waiting for you, and I hear the key turn in the door, and you walk through. Something doesn't feel right. I mean, it looks just like you and it sounds just like you, but there's a strange look in your eye, and you sit down at the foot of the stairs, and you begin to cry, and I begin to get scared. 'Cause at the party on Saturday night in the taxi, you shared the ride with a coworker who I guess you kind of like 'cause you kissed him in the taxi. Right at the party on Saturday night in the taxi, you shared the ride with a coworker who I guess you kind of like 'cause you kissed him in the taxi ride. It's a Saturday night at the start of February. I'm home alone, I'm not waiting for you, 'cause you don't live here anymore. And I remember you walking down the aisle, and I held your hand, and I saw you smile. But at the party on Saturday night in the taxi, you shared the ride with a coworker who I guess you kind of like 'cause you kissed him in the taxi. Right at the party on Saturday night in the taxi, you shared the ride with a coworker who I guess you kind of like 'cause you kissed him in the taxi ride. At the